urban legends. The podcast about urban legends. Meet your host, that's right, Neil Chris Hutler. Hello and welcome to Urban Legends, the podcast about urban legends. Hi, welcome. Weird start. Don't know what I was doing there.
I'm going to have to, as well, Chris, going to have to say, let's not forget, let's pronounce it Urbane Legends.
Yeah,
that's our
Legends.
USP.
Urbane
that's
Legends.
Our USP.
Yeah. So, I am local whittler, Chris Flynn, and that person you heard just then is with me, as always, the inventor of the hyper crouton, Mr.
Neil Herbert.
Hi, Neil. How's your week been? It's very windy, isn't it?
It is very windy, yeah. It's a storm Eunice, is it? It's been battering the Isles here. I think it's now moved on to Europe.
No, it's still windy where I am, windy and rainy.
Yeah, we've got amber warnings for the next couple of days, actually. So, yeah, I think it's going to be windy till 6 and windy tomorrow as well, apparently. So, But yeah.
Are you going to get out there with your kite?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think now is the time to perfect my paragliding accident for insurance money.
Go and get up onto the downs,
Yep.
Get your paragliding out. Or just a big box kite and just get dragged off the side.
Long-held option, yeah.
Or, go down the cliffs. Start doing some kiting.
Well, get really high wind. I might go as far as Cheddar Gorge.
Oh, lovely Cheddar
That'd be
Gorge.
good.
And you could gorge on cheddar. So, Neil, hyper crouton, what is it? Tell me, give me the elevator pitch.
Yep, so basically you take your donut dough and you deep fry that and then bake it.
Yeah.
And you put that all over your salad or soup.
So...
Because modern croutons, a bit hard and sort of like boring, but, make it out of donut dough like the, was it a croissant they made out of a donut dough? Similar to that kind of thing.
Don't know what that... They've got all kinds of crazy
really
pastries.
About 3 years ago.
Like bear claws or something?
I think there was a French chef actually came up with this, but anyway, it's not. But he didn't come up with a crouton version.
The hyper crouton.
I've taken it. The hyper crouton. Yeah.
I'll tell you what's really nice because
crouton, but even better.
Well, one of the nicest things on earth, probably one of the most unhealthy, because we live on a seaside resort. You can get donuts like ring donuts, and they're made by sort of a machine like down on the pier. And you get them kind of fresh out of the machine and then into your face. They are bloody lovely, aren't they? Have you had? I haven't had them in years, but they're so kind of
many
light.
Years. I had those when I was a kid. Yeah.
Yeah. When you
that sort of thing is always much better when it's really.
We've had them when we've been out drinking on a Saturday with Graham and Sarah and that.
Oh, I can't recall. Fair enough.
We were out drinking.
Must have been a session.
Yeah, but they're really good. So, the hyper crouton. When can we expect to see it in our supermarkets?
Well, the slight problem is it tends to get a bit limp by the time it gets to the supermarket. Right. So we're still working that out,
Working out.
So throwing lots of different chemicals at it to try and stabilise it. But I'm hopeful within the next
silver nitrate and stuff like that.
Yeah, quicksilver.
Give a little coating in quicksilver.
Yeah, and that'll be good as well for your tertiary stage syphilis. So
and for your madness.
Yeah.
So I would. So I'm.
If you want to use some medieval,
I'm currently eating as a snack, a bridging snack between brunch and dinner. I'm eating some Cheetos, which are like the American What's It.
And you've got a radical cheetah on there as well. Chester, I believe.
He's off his.
Pretty with it.
He's off his nut. But they were in the local supermarket. They were in the international food section.
Really? Fucking hell.
Between
the tahini paste and
coconuts,
oyster sauce, some pack of Cheetos.
But that's a weird thing because because in all supermarkets now you have like sections for just like curry and stuff, and for Chinese food or Asian food. So you've got all the sections. So what do they put in the international stuff? Like Cheetos, something from Botswana. Like, I mean, most international food is now just food.
Yeah, I mean that's the one. It's like if you're making your own hummus, that's where they normally put the tahini paste. That's what I know. That's what I know. But yeah, you find a few odd bits and pieces in there that are quite good. Sometimes it's just fun looking as well. So, what's that?
It's fun. It's fun to look, isn't it? Now, look at things. Oh, that's different.
I like to look, isn't
it? That's what you get up to on the weekend. So, Neil, that little soiree has led us nicely into the urban legend which you wish to discuss today, hasn't it? Seamlessly.
Segues perfectly into the story we're going to go through here, which is the Hopkinsville Goblins case. Case of the Hopkinsville Goblins.
First
or the Kelly
Goblins.
Hopkinsville encounter, if you prefer. So I'm going to read to you from. You're a fan of the History Channel, Chris?
Well, not the History Channel. I'm a fan of History Channel 2.
Oh, right. Is that the one that just goes on about the Nazis and aliens constantly?
Maybe.
Oh, guess what? We're gonna go off the History Channel. I'm assuming History.com is affiliated to the History Channel. It looks like it's got the same logo, if I recall correctly. So I want you to cast your mind back to a night in August 21st, 1955.
That's going to be difficult because it was prior to my birth.
Well, just imagine. Just use the power of imagination to cast you back. You're in southwestern Kentucky.
Big bopper on the radio.
Yeah, big bopper on the radio. Music hasn't died yet. Don't know. When did the plane come down? Don't know. You're at Hopkinsville Police Station in southwestern Kentucky when a large extended family from the local farm called the Suttons arrive breathlessly and tell you a terrifying tale. So
I'm imagining everyone speaks like in Justified for this.
I would hope so. I'd be very disappointed if not.
Kentucky.
Yeah. They're all, having just a little nip of good bourbon.
Some moonshine.
Possibly some shine.
Cherry pie.
Very nice. So
we on the shine tonight, boys.
Or they've just been off in the general Lee, dropping off moonshine down to that's probably
off their faces on Oxycontin.
Probably not in 55, in fairness. No, they came into the police station to tell them about a terrifying siege they were having by otherworldly beings. This is one of the most detailed and baffling accounts of an alien close encounter on record.
Alien?
An alien. We're talking.
Can I make a quick guess?
Go on.
Is this the story which the film Critters is based on?
Yes, you are. Well, allegedly that is correct. Yeah.
Yay!
Loosely based.
What do I win? Your pride.
Respect of absolutely no one.
Lovely.
Yeah, I don't know where you got that from, but it's sort of.
It sounds like it.
Very, very loosely.
Like tiny aliens.
I mean, you wait until you get to the bit with the intergalactic bounty hunters with the explosive things. Yeah, you could shapeshift. That's pretty good. So, they're at their farmstead, and they were very, very so as well, this isn't one where it's just kind of like they've seen an alien from miles away. They got into a firefight with some aliens, Chris. They had to go to
aliens with all their alien shotguns.
Well, who knows? I mean, who knows?
Muskets. Yeah. Pearl-handled garter guns.
I mean, they've got interplanetary distance technology that they can move around to the universe in, but maybe they didn't. Maybe they're pacifist aliens. Maybe they don't.
Well, I think what's happened there is they've put all of their research into interplanetary technology and fuck all into weapeonry. So they've got really rudimentary weapons,
haven't they? So they're just going to get invaded by somebody who's more
somebody
aggressive.
Called out.
Better rounded skill tree. Yeah, that's what's happened there. Okay, so the alleged encounter occurred on the Suttons farm in the tiny rural hamlet of Kelly, Kentucky, which I assume is near Hopkinsville. Anyway, where the family lived on an unpainted 3-room house without running water, telephone, radio, TV, or books.
Mm-hmm. Sounds
not much
shit.
debt. No, it's 55. I mean, they would have had no, they're running water. I thought they might have had a well or something, but yeah.
You would think with all that spare time, you get the house painted.
I mean, yeah, I don't know, pretty busy. They must have had some. Yeah, they must have had a well or something.
Might have had that. They might have every night played that game where you throw the horseshoes at the spike in the ground.
That's good, that, isn't it? That keep you entertained for 10 minutes.
Well, is that all painting? It's up to you, kids.
Yeah. All right, we'll play horseshoes again, Dad. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think it would have been that rare to have not had a telephone, a radio, or a TV.
No, not having sticks.
I think that was pretty. I would think that would be pretty common, actually. Books, okay, there's something there. But yeah, and I think it's actually not uncommon to sort of dig a well these days. And if you live in certain parts of America, it's you don't necessarily have connection to, or if you're in Flint, Michigan, you wish you weren't connected to the local waters.
That's a hot topic there, Neil.
Let's not get into that. So basically, yeah, they've been about a year.
Late.
Yeah. Well, it's still happening, isn't it? It's still all for want of a small investment to not let the pipes all go rusted and leaded. Anyway, there you go.
Well, it's all the chemicals that go into the water, into the aquifer and stuff, isn't it?
Well, yeah, but they reckon that if they had have actually treated them correctly, I mean, now that the damage has been done, they're completely fucked and they'd have to replace all of the piping. But if they'd actually spent a minimum amount of money to treat them, it wouldn't have happened. Anyway.
Buy cheap, buy twice.
There you go. Yeah. Petition time saves a load of plumbing going leaded. Lead for petrol, not for drinking. Anyway, so it happens. So basically, we're having a firefight out on their farm. One fact is indisputable. So, there was their story is that there was a UFO landing and some small alien creatures attacked them. But one fact is indisputable. When the 8 adults and 3 children arrived at nearby Hopkinsville police station at around 11 p.m., they were genuinely terror-struck. And the police chief, Russell Greenwell, later told investigators, these aren't the kind of people who normally run to the police for help. What they do is reach for their guns. And don't you worry, Chris, they absolutely did. It's like Precinct 19. So. Yeah. Yeah, here they were, women and children hysterical, and one man with a pulse of 140 beats per minute measured by an investigator.
To be fair, he was morbidly obese.
Yeah, I mean, my resting one is about 120. So according to accounts given by the police, at around 7 p.m. on the hot Sunday evening, the Sutton family friend, Billy Ray Taylor, was fetching water from the backyard well. Yeah, there you go, they had a well. When he saw a silvery object, real bright, with an exhaust, all the colours of the rainbow. And as he later recounted, it came silently towards the house, passed over it, stopped in the air.
Right. An exhaust, all the colours of the rainbow.
All the colours of the rainbow. Real bright.
Run, Charlie, run. Sorry. That's just, yeah. Yeah, exhaust pipe, all the colours of the rainbow.
Look, Billy Ray had a way with words.
Billy Ray, that's why the ladies liked him.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. So he stops in the air and then drops straight to the ground. So Billy Ray and he was 21 and his wife was 18. I'm not sure why they're telling us that. They come from Pennsylvania to visit Lucky Sutton, with whom he'd worked on a travelling carnival. So they're Carnies. That's good. The Suttons' 50-year-old widow and matriarch, Glennie Langford, her 2 older sons and their wives, the brother-in-law and the widow. Woman. Yeah, bearded woman, cheap boy, alligator man, lobster child.
Painted lady.
Yeah, or whatever else was in that. Oh, black and white movie. Okay, I'm forgetting now, but basically there's a load of these people living on a farm.
Said, so Lucky, so him and Lucky worked on the travelling circuit. So carry on from there.
Yeah, so he's mates with a chap called Lucky Sutton. So it's the Sutton's farm. So Billy Ray Taylor and his wife, they're coming down to visit an old mate who he'd worked with on travelling carnival. And on the farm, so there's a 50-year-old widow. So the husband's died. But that's Glennie, and she's got 2 older sons, and they've got wives, and they all live together. There's a brother-in-law and the widow. She's got 3 younger children, 12, 10 and 7. So quite a big family she's got. But they didn't take Billy Ray seriously. He talks about having seen this UFO.
Oh, Billy Ray.
You know what he's like, Billy Ray.
You're always spinning a yarn.
You know what they're like. You've been out with a carnival, they tell all sorts of tales, don't they?
Fucking Carnies, yeah.
But, yeah, I can't trust them. An hour later, alerted by the dog's incessant barking, Lucky and Billy Ray went to the back door and they made out a strange glow, in the midst of which they spied a small humanoid creature, about 3.5 feet tall, had an oversized head almost perfectly round, arms extended almost to the ground, hands had talons, and its oversized eyes glowed with a yellowish light. The body gave off an eerie shimmer in the light of the night's new moon, as if it were made of silver metal.
Yeah, so it sounds like Michael Gove. Little politics joke there,
but less freaky,
but more gorgeous,
bit more gorgeous. Mind you, I don't know if you can see this thing dancing. You never know. So what do they do, you reckon, Chris? I think you can guess.
Shoot it.
Yeah. Terrified, the two men grabbed a 20-gauge shotgun and a 22 rifle and fired at the little man. Its hands. I mean, it's a good job it just wasn't someone's kid wandering around in the backyard, wasn't it?
Well, you're not going to have much luck with a shotgun at that kind of distance, and the rifle's that's like a varmint rifle, so they're using exactly the weapons you wouldn't want to.
I reckon these people
for intergalactic skirmishes.
I reckon they know. I reckon they know their weapons. These lads.
No, they just picked whatever's closest. Trying
to scare it off. They fired at the little man with his hands now raised as if held at gunpoint, and it came towards the back door. They reported it then did a flip, scrambled upright, and fled into the darkness.
Did a backflip.
Then they did, just did several backflips. Then shortly after, the men saw a similar creature appear in a side window and fired through the window screen. Still impervious to bullets, the little man again flipped and disappeared. I went out in the hallway and crouched down next to Billy, and I saw one approaching the floor, Mrs. Langford told Isabel Davis, author of an extensive report called Close Encounter at Kelly and Others of 55. It looked like a 5-gallon gasoline can with a head on top and small legs. It was a shimmering bright metal like on my refrigerator.
Well, they have refrigeration, so that's good. It's not all bad.
So hang on a second. So they've got electricity then. They just don't have any. I mean, they don't have running water. They've got a well, so that's fair enough.
Yeah,
going back to what
plumbing doesn't work on electricity. Just to clear that up for you.
No, I am aware of the difference.
Get one of them electric toilets.
I mean, after trying to drink out of the electrical socket no more than 20 times did I repeat the experiment. I don't do it anymore, Chris. I use a tap or the faucet, as our American friends would say. Right. So the drama escalates when Taylor steps outside under the small overhanging roof, and those behind him saw a claw-like hand reach down and touch his hair. The group screamed and pulled Taylor back, while Lucky shot above the overhang and then at another similar creature in a nearby tree. It floated to the ground and then scurried into the woods. So Sutton's moved inside, spent several hours listening for movements, hearing mostly occasional scratches on the roof. At 11 p.m, the whole station ran for the cars and hightailed it to the Hopkinsville, don't know why that's so hard for me to pronounce, Hopkinsville police station at top speed. So they're speeding, I bet, so they're going to get caught out there.
Think of the town as being a cult that started by Anthony Hopkins, if you need to. Hopkinsville.
There's a little aid memoir there for something. Yeah. So the local police chief calls for backup because he's not fucking about. Do you know what I mean? If it's going to scare the Suttons, we're going to get him tooled up. I mean, this is why, like modern rural police forces, Chris, they have like armoured tanks and that.
Military, the militarisation of the police.
It's not because of ridiculous, overspending on militarisation of the
police.
War
on drug stuff.
Yeah, no, it's because you never know when you're going to come up against intergalactic entities and you're going to have to get tooled up.
I believe this is why the SWAT team was formed.
Yeah, you don't do it because you want to have to use it, but it's because you don't want to have to use it.
You don't do it at all because there is a ridiculous system within all sort of public works, which is that you have to spend your entire budget by the end of the financial year. Otherwise, your budget will get shrunk rather than them just going, okay, you haven't spent that much this year. That's fine. You still have the same budget next year. So you end up buying stuff that you don't need. It's not that at all.
No, it's not that. Look, I'll tell you what, Chris. I would say, what's the one problem I have with the military, and obviously, God bless them, but too much training, too much faffing about.
Yeah.
I think what we need to do over here is, definitely much more heavily arm our police forces with military equipment, but just don't bother with the training because that's where the costs come in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably a week or so.
They're all sitting around. Military all sitting around in barracks, like most of them going into towns, getting drunk.
You've seen them, Chris. They're just marching up and down on a parade, aren't they?
What's the point in that? Ugh.
Get out and go and catch some criminals.
Disband
anyway, some aliens.
Disband the military. Just keep Trident. Beautiful.
Yeah,
that's what I say.
Just get more of them submarines rolling around. You don't know where it is, so it could be right by you. Are you feeling lucky, punk?
Could be in your bath.
That's the fact that our nuclear deterrent system is literally just the equivalent of Clint Eastwood, maybe.
I mean, you know my feelings about Trident, which is disband it and let's not have nuclear weapons because
possibly not really a deterrent for the future. Anyway, still though, it's good value, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like...
I mean, let's face it, we've spunk away a lot of money over the last couple of years. Fuck it, in for a penny, in for a pound. Let's get another couple going on.
Yeah, why not? We'll get Boris Johnson's mates to build it, who currently work in, I don't know, cabinet makers.
We need a couple of garden bridges as well. One between Northern Ireland and Scotland, preferably. Obviously we'll call it the Johnson Bridge.
Yeah, perfect.
No, why not?
Boris's bouncy bridge.
Better than giving the North decent railway.
Nah, fuck them.
Well, they'd just squander it, wouldn't they?
If they were serious about improving their lot in life, they'd move to the south.
Yeah, they'd move to London and make it really over-expensive and overcrowded. Hasn't happened, does it? So there you go.
Well, you're not that bothered, then, are you? Yeah. Chuck your stuff into the back of your car, head south.
Yeah.
You could live in Luton or something and commute into London.
It's good enough for the 80s and the 20s and the Dust Bowl era, or the 30s and
or all
down to California,
or all backstories of Hollywood actors.
Right. Anyway, back onto the point. So, the local police chief's calling for backup, and his team goes down to Sutton Farm, followed by state police, military police from nearby Fort Campbell, and a photographer from the Kentucky New Era. They didn't find much. They found shell casings for gunshots, but no evidence. But they didn't find any proof of heavy drinking, Chris, which I know was one of my first thoughts. So according to the Sutton matriarch, liquor was not allowed in the farmhouse. That makes sense, doesn't it? Because you're not going to run a busy farm. You're all out drinking shine.
Could it be that thing where when yeast goes bad and it makes people all go mental?
Oh, right.
So you could.
Yeah, you hear tell of people eating bread with a bit of mould on it or something, and it can have hallucinations and things like that.
Yeah, they reckon that's why
this was the reason why saints would see things in the middle areas and stuff like that. Yeah.
Mm.
Who knows?
Yeah,
who knows?
It's like it's hallucinogenic, isn't it?
But I think if they were acting manic, then the police would have said that. I think they think that said. But once the police and the others left, though, the creatures returned around 2:30 in the morning and between daybreak. And the matriarch said she saw one glowing repeatedly by a bedside window, its claw-like hand on the screen. I mean, the one thing I'm going to stop on here, Chris, is what's these aliens going? Let's assume that they are aliens. What's their game? What are they up
to? Maybe they were coming down to get some milk or a cup of sugar. I mean, they didn't come in guns blazing. They defended.
Well, no, I think they've been pretty reasonable, to be honest with you. I mean, all right, they've got a little bit of a scary appearance, but people can look different. That is what it is. Or not people, but extraterrestrials are obviously going to look quite different to us. We don't know they've got malicious intent. You've gone straight for your 22, your 20 gauge.
Well, it's
anything. You're lucky that they haven't retaliated.
Well, they did, didn't they?
Well, no, I'm saying the aliens haven't, have they? They've just gone like that. Fair enough.
Well, they've had a scratch at the roof. They've hovered around a tree. I thought that one of them shot back through the windscreen.
No, it's just them shooting out.
Oh, right.
So other than some potential, other than
so it wasn't. So I wouldn't really call it a gun battle, which is what it was.
It was quite a one-sided one. It's them shooting at what may or may not be aliens.
I don't know. I think this is the danger of arming a populace. Really, they could have been coming down to sort out the world's problems and give us all kind of unified living wage, provided we agree to be a vassal state of whatever their planet is.
Well, no, they're going to come down and give us, like, faster than light technology and a solution to our energy crisis that wouldn't have created climate change. Unfortunately, instead of going down to the White House, what they've done is gone onto a farm in Hopkinsville.
Well, maybe they don't trust politicians.
Well, that's true. Yeah, you can't blame them.
They want to speak to the average man on the street.
Sort of the earth chaps. See what they're like. They'll give us a good idea of what these people are like.
Well.
Oh, if only I'd landed in Greenwich Village or something, Chris. Oh, things would be very different by now, I'll tell you that.
Or Guildford.
Yeah. Kettering. A travel in Kettering. So they've got the police descriptions of these things as well, and they've got like round heads and glowing eyes. They look like kind of like flaps on the ears. Got like big Mr. Spock ears.
Ergot.
And then they're quite like...
that's the fungus, sorry.
Oh, right, yeah. Quite sort of muscular chest, but quite skinny waists and very little legs.
Well, they sound all right.
Yeah,
wouldn't mind one of them joining me and my pillow wife.
He can be as metallic as he wants. So straight after that then, Chris, days after, they've been on the radio and the newspapers, including the New York Times, who reported the incident, and hundreds of curiosity seekers descended on the farm. Unfortunately, a lot of them were ridiculing the Suttons as ignorant or fraudulent. That's a bit off, isn't it? Snobs.
Well,
they're coming from out of town. And they're just like, you're looking for funny accent.
Yeah. Oh, God. Look at they haven't even painted the farmhouse.
Yeah, don't even have running water.
God. Oh, God. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Some snooty Englishman was just, it's like Downton Abbey, which is so. But this is what I like, Chris. This is what we all say. So when no trespassing signs prove useless at discouraging them.
What the fuck's this? A well?
The family tried charging admission, 50 cents for entering the grounds, $1 for information, $10 for taking pictures. And after that, skeptics blasted them as fortune-seeking fabulists. No, do you know what? If you're going to be coming down and disturbing us, fuck it, yeah.
Yeah.
You want to take a picture, you can charge, yeah. Right, $10 is quite a lot in 1955.
That does seem quite a lot.
50 cents to go and see that, that's fair enough. If you want to go on private land.
Though?
The farm that they've shot up.
The farm that they shot up themselves.
You've read it in the newspaper and you thought it was interesting enough to come down. Well, I would imagine you'll be happy spending 50 cents to go and see it then. Fair enough.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. It's although, again, I think even that was probably quite a lot of money back then. But, I mean, at the end of the day, it's up to them, isn't it? Right, it's their fucking property.
It's their land, yeah.
Yeah, fuck off then.
I think good for them.
Yeah.
The American way.
Yeah,
they've got something. They've got the supply. You've got the demand. There you go. That's how it works.
Exactly. It's capitalism.
Exactly. As the Kelly story spread into the world, it took on a life of its own. And apparently, this is where we get. It got conflated with stories about aliens and men in green, helping launch the myth of the little green men. Because these were little fellas.
So when does the Goblin come in? Does he turn up? Is he a private eye?
Well, the Goblin this is what they're calling it. So
Mr. Goblin, PI.
Because these things, as I've sort of explained, it's sort of outward appearance. They're kind of like about 2 to 3 foot high.
And because aliens weren't so prevalent, people called them goblins.
Yeah,
but they're not goblins. What we would consider traditional goblins.
No. They were thinking that because they'd seen this light in the sky, they were tying it with UFOs. I mean, who knows, Chris? Maybe there were some cheeky little kobolds or something. We don't know, do we?
Maybe goblins have developed space technology on the quiet.
Maybe that's where UFOs come from. Maybe it's just,
Goblins.
Big Goblin.
Big Goblin. You've got a lot of investments in Big Goblin, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I'm waiting for it to pay off. So far, we've got... we've done a bit of prog music for some direct movies. That's about as far as we've managed to penetrate the market.
I've heard that Big Goblin were selling some of their, now for them old, but for us new, rocket propulsion technology to Boeing to produce better missiles. That's what I heard.
Wouldn't be surprised.
That's what I read in my monthly subscription of Soldier of Fortune magazine.
Yep, Mo Goblin, Mo Money. Don't even know what that meant. Right. So,
Mo Goblin, no problem.
Yeah, no goblin, no cry. The day after the incident,
No
police investigators...
goblin, no cry. Oh, little goblin, don't shed no tears. Lovely.
The day after the incident, police investigators returned to the farmhouse searching for evidence of a saucer landing, footprints, blood trails, or scratch marks on the roof. They found nothing.
Right.
Bud Ledworth, a local radio station employee, interviewed the adult witnesses and made drawings based on their accounts, which I've sort of already described. He was impressed by their remarkable specificity and consistency, even though the men were away from the farmhouse all day and able to coordinate with the others. And it eventually got investigated by the Air Force.
Because even though he weren't the men have been away from the farmhouse all day, not. But I mean, how many days after the incident is this?
Yeah, and you could have. I mean, if you're being very sceptical, they could have just cooked it all up beforehand if they just wanted to tell Porky. So you don't know. But anyway,
big heads.
For what we've got,
body like a gas calendar, gorgeous chest,
big rounded, gorgeous chest. He's like Michael Phelps, but nothing going on in the leg region. Just tiny little skinny little weird long arms with claws at the end.
Yeah,
but tiny little fellows as well.
It's easy enough to remember, isn't it?
Yeah. But it did get investigated by the Air Force UFO investigation program, Project Blue Book.
Blue Book, yeah.
They didn't officially pursue the matter beyond checking in with the Fort Campbell counterparts. They've been briefly there. And then in 1956, a ufologist called Isabel Davis did a thorough investigation, published several decades later by the Centre for UFO Studies. A 200-page report.
How thorough could it be?
It was 200 pages.
Yeah, of what?
Including detailed maps, drawings, documentary records, summaries of similar accounts around the world, and interviews with several Sutton family members.
I feel like most of it would have been maps and references to other stuff around the world, considering there's no evidence.
There's not. Anything. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Well, anyway, she did summarise there was a concern about a lack of physical evidence, but to her reckoning, none of the possible explanations, a deliberate hoax, publicity play, group hallucinations, made a lot of sense. So, when poisoning. Questions about whether young men were exaggerating, possibly fueled by hidden stills of liquor, her strong impression after meeting Mrs. Langford was of a sombre, no-nonsense matriarch who abhorred the limelight and had no reason to lie. None of the witnesses had any history of making preposterous allegations.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, isn't it? That the whole fact, because if it was just the two guys, you could imagine, right, don't tell Ma, but let's run in and say
the whole
that
family kind of look.
Yeah, the fact that they're all saying that they. Well, I mean, again, did the family see anything, or were the guys at the window shooting out, going, "Oh, they're aliens are coming. They look like this. Oh, one scratching at the roof."
They were going to see someone trying to attack his head, didn't they? But it was all by moonlight, and you're probably might start getting a bit suggestible.
Could have been a raccoon.
Group. We'll get into an animal possibility later on. But in 2006, Joan Nichols, Senior Research Fellow of the International Committee for Skeptical Inquiry and a self-styled paranormal investigator. I want to get one of these jobs, Chris. I want to get one of them. Yeah, I'm not getting paid for. Is he getting paid for this though? That's what I want to know.
Probably by the History Channel.
Yeah.
Put
a little bit more effort into this.
That's the main
make some money out of this. That's what I want. Anyway, he reviewed the accumulated evidence and he raised suspicion about what he called Billy Taylor's embroidered testimony.
What are you going to say? Testicles.
He embroidered. He embroidered his testicles as well, but that's not relevant to the case, Chris. Permission to treat the witness as hostile, Your Honour. Bringing up irrelevant material, trying to discredit Billy Ray.
Just because
his testes have got any bearing on this case.
Just because he embroidered a picture of a turtle onto his ballsack does not mean that he didn't see aliens.
Does not make him an incredible witness. No bearing on this case whatsoever. Objection sustained. Right. He matched Taylor's UFO sighting with similar reports that day. So apparently there might have been a small meteor going down in the vicinity because there had been similar reports. So that might explain where they'd seen all the colours of the rainbow coming down from the sky. And as for the little man, he floated an explanation used for other alien encounter stories: owls.
Right.
Very Lynchian. So apparently the great horned owl
Yeah.
That's a good name, isn't it? AKA the Hoot Owl.
Hoot Owl.
Not as good a name. He's got long wings that could be mistaken for arms,
Yeah.
along with talons, yellow eyes, long ears, and a round head that might match Little Man's description. As for the metallic shine, Nichols suggests they could have been reflecting moonlight.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing is that while they're known to be active at dusk and aggressive defending their nest, investigators question whether they'd really. Well, they don't have guns. Well, no, there was no firing back. And that. But maybe had some rabid great or else. Anyway, so could have been wild animals attacking them, some sort of birds. They're thinking that.
Great owls are gorgeous. I'm just having a look at them.
It's not a huge reach from the kind of like description that they're given to sort of like an owl, because the reason you can't really see the legs or they seem so skinny is because they're not
yeah,
and you've got you'd have the wings which sort of
gorgeous muscular Dwayne the Rock Johnson chest.
They're obviously because you're flying a boot. So that's the kind of that's the history of the Little Green Men origin story, Hopkinsville Kelly case. Unfortunately, it doesn't follow up on whether they had a revisit. I'm assuming they didn't. But it got a lot of press coverage. This is where we get the phrase "Little Green Men." Some ufologists compared the alleged creatures to gremlins, which have since been referred to as the Hopkinsville Goblins in popular culture. So why they call them goblins, I don't know. But it's been distinguished by its duration and by the number of witnesses involved. Project Blue Book listed the case as a hoax with no form of further comment. But yeah, it's the 1986 comedy horror Critters, loosely based on the Kelly Hopkinsville case. Apparently a Pokemon is based on this, so that's nice. Give a shit about Pokemon.
Yeah, you do. You love it.
Yeah. I know all of the fire lizards. And yeah, whatever. And apparently there's been on a TV series as well called Project Blue Book. So they've turned that into a TV show, apparently.
Yeah. I've watched a few episodes.
It's on the History Channel, apparently. So, yeah. You'll have seen all this before.
What's the difference between...
the Kelly community now celebrates the anniversary of the event every third weekend of August with an event called the Kelly Little Green Men Days.
So that will sometimes be on my birthday. Maybe that's what I'll do for my 40th.
Yeah, get down to Hopkinsville.
Go to Hopkinsville, join in that, and get a cameo from Cisco. Beautiful.
That'd be good.
40th done.
Time well spent.
What's the difference between Pokemon and dogfighting? There isn't really any, is there?
Yeah, not really. I mean, it's just kind of like
they like it apparently,
but they're like animated
fighting.
And cute. Yeah. No, it's
That's
they sort of thought, well, you should have seen one of the original concepts. It was just basically like bear baiting. So let's tone it down a little bit to make it kid friendly. Yeah, maybe if we made the monsters like cute.
Yeah,
that'd be all right. But yeah, the concept is kind of horrifying, isn't it?
Yeah, going and trapping wild creatures and then making them
fight each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting that people don't focus in on that a bit more, isn't it? Weird that the marketing people at Pokemon don't.
See what they want to see, Chris. See what they want to see as long as it makes a buck.
Ugh, disgusting.
Yeah, big Pokemon. Making money hand over fist out of this
You've
stuff.
got a lot of investments in big Pokemon, haven't you?
Well, yeah. Hey, look, if people didn't want to do it, I just go where the money is, mate. I supply what people want. I'm not moral about it. I'm not going to get on my high horse. Just giving people what they want.
Well, that's it, isn't it? There is no money. Money has no God, I believe they say. That's a famous saying, isn't it?
Famous saying you just made up. Yeah.
So why did some people start calling them gremlins, and then they're just
because they looked a little bit like goblins or gremlins. I don't really know what the gremlin goblins thing is. To be honest with you, I don't understand why.
You'd just call them aliens, wouldn't you?
I mean, as they say, some ufologists have compared the alleged creatures to gremlins, and they've been referred to as. So for some reason, the little fellas, like when they saw that, because you can and listener, you can Google, this and see the picture yourself. It does look like a little goblin or kobold or something. I don't know. I'm not up on my it looks less like your traditional little green man than it does like some sort of medieval spirit or something.
Okay.
So I think that's why they ended up calling them goblins. just because that's what they look a bit like. But no, supposedly this very much was supposed to be. I mean, the thing is though, there's no real evidence that it's a UFO, other than the fact that they thought they saw something coming down from the sky,
all the
and then
colours
they
of
were
the
attacked
rainbow.
by things that could fly. So definitely not birds.
Yeah,
I mean,
birds,
Occam's
birds
razor and all that.
birds-
Probably more
Birds
likely.
famously ground-based animals. They fear the sky, don't they?
I do.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's probably people getting a bit excited and then seeing some owls.
Yeah, I think they've maybe gotten a little bit excited. They got a bit bored. There's nothing really to do on the farm, other than dig the well and sort of, let's
Not paint the house.
Not paint the house. Play horseshoes again because nobody likes painting. And you just got a bit hysterical perhaps, and everyone's just kind of like...
Yeah, it must have been so boring.
Or some aliens decided to come down to Earth, go for a little visit, and then just scratch at the windows and kind of like fly about a little bit to piss off some farmers. Not really seeing what's in it for the aliens, having come all that way.
No.
That's the question that never gets asked, Chris.
What do the aliens want? Well...
Yeah. What are they getting out of it? Slaughter some cattle.
I'll tell you what, if it was night, and have you seen a harpy eagle before?
I have not, no.
I'll share my screen with you. Because if you saw one of these at night, you'd think it was a fucking demon or something. Like, they're amazing.
When out in the middle of the night, where it's like, it's like a full moon. Yeah.
Look at this fucker. They're huge as well.
Is that George Harrison sitting next to one?
Yeah, that was the Harpy Eagle produced his third solo album.
Oh. Yeah, he's a pretty keen guitarist, by all accounts. Yeah, no, that is pretty freaky looking. But kind of majestic as well.
Yeah, they're amazing Harpy Eagles. I think they're from the Amazon, though. Yeah, they're crazy guys. Everyone should have a look at a Harpy Eagle. That's my advice to them.
There you go.
So Neil,
anyway, yeah. So
should we go through?
I don't think they're local to the area, but yeah, some kind of bird does make that. I could see that. Anyway, yeah, scoring.
Yes, Neil. So spookiness. I'll go first as a little change of pace because I normally let you go first on spookiness, and I'm sure you want a rest. So I'd find it weird or spooky at night being out in the middle of nowhere. Cut off and that kind of stuff, and it's probably quite wooded, the area. But these people live there and are used to it, and there's a load of them around, so it wouldn't be particularly spooky to them, or much less so than it is to me.
They were living right next to a shopping mall. It was a really built up kind of area. But no, that'd be quite good, wouldn't it? But no. Yeah, no, I assume it's well out in the middle of nowhere.
I don't know. It's difficult because, again, you would think that you'd seen owls and stuff as well. Do you know what I mean? If you lived out there, but it was the guy from out of town who started the whole thing, didn't he? Kicked it all off. Yeah, the smooth talking, lyrical Carney from out of town. So he might not have been used to it, and then I don't know. It's difficult to see how this gets so out of hand.
Yeah, it did escalate very rapidly. And I don't see much, because if they'd been being attacked or something, you'd think, well, fair enough. But I don't know. Maybe it's a bit like,
live out there as well. Do you know what I mean?
But they reckon, sometimes we are quite isolated. People do get quite territorial, and it's sort of like get quite gun friendly.
Oh yeah.
Anything that appears, they get quite paranoid. Also, if you're trying to take something away from them.
I don't know what kind of.
Not saying the Suttons were like that. I don't know.
I'm not sure what kind of animals and stuff that are there are there wolves or bears, black bears or something. Yeah. So you would, you've got a reason to have
protect your
weapons.
Homestead. Yeah, absolutely.
But spookiness, I don't know. I don't think it's very spooky. I don't think. Maybe seeing something in the sky and you don't know what it is, that could be a bit. But I don't know. I'm going to go for a 4-0.
Well, if a bulletproof alien isn't spooky, I don't know what is, Chris. Yeah, it's not really terrible because the thing is, they don't do much. They just, they look a bit, otherworldly. But you've decided to start shooting at them for no particular good reason, it seems to me. So I get that they obviously were scared, and I kind of, and we'll get into it in a minute, but I think that they probably, were scared of whatever was going on. So they were spooked themselves. So obviously there's some, but I think it's just they've seen something and just sort of spooked themselves. But I don't think that's inherently spooky in and of itself, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I don't, it could, if someone had been attacked or something, or something like that, or something created. But yeah, it's low spookiness for me on this one. It's going to be a 2.
2. Okay. So Neil, believability.
Yeah. So believability. So I kind of get the impression that I think they did think that they'd seen something. That's kind of where I fall on
You're
this.
so soft-hearted.
Could have been making the whole thing up, but no, I get the impression that they did think they'd seen something. But no, I'm not convinced because all right, there'd been a meteorite storm earlier in the day or something, and that, but that could have set something in your head, and then you've got that and then you'll start thinking of, and the 50s as well. You just all of that those kind of towns are starting to kick off, aren't they? And those kind of sightings start to happen. So you're getting that kind of that suggestibility. You're getting into that kind of thing, and you're middle of kind of like you've had the, I don't know, is that I don't know how far we're sort of ramping up with sort of this whole Cold War paranoia.
Well, I mean,
a bit later, but
how much of that would they have been affected by, seeing as they didn't have any TV or radio or any contact with the outside world or books?
Yeah, you might have heard it on, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how often they're going into town and hearing stories from neighbours. I mean,
but it's not like they're sitting there listening to War of the Worlds, is it?
Or you might, they said they didn't have liquor on the farm, but you might have gone out drinking on a Friday night or something like that when you finished your shift or so. I imagine they sort of do something sociable, wouldn't you? You'd imagine there'd be some sort of social life. Yeah, go to a barn dance or something. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much of that, but anyway, because to even conceive of sort of like interterrestrial aliens, then you must have heard something. So I don't know. It's
well, it could be the guy from Philadelphia again going, but there's been a big spate of these aliens landing and stuff. He might have heard of it and then been saying to them, and that could have got them all. Oh, so what? Yeah, no, these aliens have been
carnival, so
they've been crashing in Roswell and all sorts. Yeah.
So yeah, who knows? But I think that they probably believed it. What was quite interesting about this is, I'm gonna give it an all right score. Actually, this one. I don't believe that they were attacked by aliens. I think they just shut up their own farm because they got scared by some wildlife. But I think that, and I've got to take marks off because obviously the investigations didn't show something. But then they wouldn't, would they, Chris? They want to cover it up.
Project Blue Book.
Yeah. Project Blue Book. So it was actually they were creating little robots, weren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Little military robots. Fueled by nuclear technology, who were invented by Nazi scientists. Yeah, then they realised it was empowered by evil,
spirit power.
Yeah, sort of powered by hell itself. They had to put a damper on that one.
Cork in it, just
backfired. Started attacking farmers. We didn't know where it'd end, so they had to stop it then and cover up all knowledge. I think that they probably believe what they were saying. And there's, but yeah, I don't believe that that it was a set of aliens. There's nothing. So in terms, I guess it's too easy to think that they were attacked by wildlife or something like that. So yeah, it's going to have to bring it. Yeah, no, it's going to bring it down a bit for me. Given that I think that they probably did believe it themselves, but I don't actually believe there was anything to it. I'm going to sort of give it a 4.
4. Yeah, I mean, I'm similar to you. I mean, where I'm kind of slightly stuck is whether it was all just a fucking hoax. That's what. So that kind of the believability sort of rests on that a little bit. I mean, I guess it is believable that the guy from Philadelphia said, I saw something in the sky, and there's been loads of such as UFOs, what are they, like these monsters from other planets and stuff, and they've been seeing them all over America and telling them a story, and they go, oh, and then he'd go, oh, look, there's something out there. And it was like you could see an owl's reflection, like its eyes reflecting. They go, and start shooting and stuff. So that could be believable. I mean, on the other hand, if this woman is kind of really no nonsense, so it should be going, you Egypt, that's an owl, you would think, because she's lived there forever. Right, so I'm gonna leave the hoax thing to one side.
No, if you can't trust a Carney, Chris, to tell you the truth, who can you trust?
I can't trust a Pennsylvanian Carney. So I'm going to go same as you. I'm going to go 4 because I think it could be believable. I'm still unsure as to whether they actually believed it even themselves or whether it was all just a bit of a hoax. But, because there's a Carney involved, so...
No, it could, the whole thing could be just a complete hoax, but I guess the fact that all of them, and a lot of them seem fairly down to earth, but yeah, they could have just been trying to make some money.
So, Reach, that's me, I think. So I think I've probably heard of this because I watch a lot of nonsense. So I'm sure I probably heard of it. And the fact that I made the link to Critters makes me think that I've probably heard that link somewhere before, or I just...
That was a weird one to pull out.
Well, it just sounded like it. Goblins, I've not even seen Critters, but from what I understand, they're small aliens attacking a farmhouse, and this sounded like small aliens attacking a farmhouse. So it wasn't...
Pretty much,
it wasn't. Yeah. So it's not a huge mental leap, Neil. It's not beyond the wit of man to be able...
version of Gremlins, basically.
It's not beyond the wit of man to be able to make the link there, so it's not that weird.
Well, no, it's just because remembering the fact that Critters exists in the first place.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's always stuck in my head.
I've seen this movie, and I could sort of boil it down.
I think when I was a kid, one of my best friend when I was a kid, I think his brother had a poster of it or something, and it probably burned into my head, because I was 5 or something.
Yeah, the character design's kind of mildly iconic.
I think it's not one of the big ones of the UFO stuff, but it's also not an unknown, or you have to be really into it to have known it. So
it's the origin of Little Green Men.
Potentially, yeah. Although they were silver, so don't quite know how that.
People mixed it up later on.
So I'm going to give it a reach of 5 now.
I'm going to go a bit higher on reach for this one, just because
I thought that was a bit low.
UFO and stuff that's been around for a while. I think it possibly becomes less prevalent now, but it's probably going to start going out of fashion. But people were obsessed with UFOs in the 50s. There were a lot of sort of stories, and this I think sounds like one of the more foundational ones.
Little Green Man spotted outside of Albuquerque.
Exactly. It's one of the ones that they've sort of attested to as more convincing proofs, and that is literally just a shut up farmhouse. That's all they've got here. So it tells you something. But no, I think it's quite it's quite well known. Anything in that kind of UFO thing, there's a big sort of sector of people who are very interested in all of that kind of thing. I can imagine that. Oh gosh, what's your man? The 80s comedian who was the Blues Brother and a Ghostbuster.
Right.
Dan Aykroyd, he'd be all over this, I reckon. He'd have things to say.
I think he's probably bought the farm by now.
I would hope so. I hope that's where he brews his vodka. from the local spring, gets the water there.
Is it out the
triple filtered grain
from the well?
Yeah, it's out of the well. That's it. Yeah. Yeah, so no, I think this has got quite wide reach. It's been around for a while. I think it'll be known all around the world, and it'll, anything with UFOs involved, that tends to get a bit more going on. So it's not right up there in the camp with kind of like Bigfoot and stuff like that. It's not that well known. It's more of a niche sub bit, but nonetheless, those things do tend to get very well shared. So I'm going to give it a 7.
7, fucking hell. So narrative premise, Neil, you go first.
It's kind of just the old cliche getting attacked in the cabin, but you've actually left the cabin and shut the rest and nothing's happened to you. So it's not a particularly great narrative for me, this one, I don't think, actually. The whole, being attacked by things in the cabin while you're having to defend yourself until the sun comes up or something. That's a classic of the movie genre.
The Alamo.
I've seen it in all sorts. Yep, the Alamo, dog soldiers. It could be vampires or aliens. Aliens, the movie. That's another version of that story. Just trying to protect yourself against
The Thing.
But But it would have been a lot less scary in Aliens or The Thing. He was in with them, wasn't he, in shape-shifting, so that's a slightly different one. But yeah, but this is one where instead of the aliens actually like having acid blood and trying to bite your head off, they just kind of like poodled around, had a waft at you, and then ran away.
A bit hovering.
Would have been quite, did a bit of hovering, hovered off. Would have been quite as good and entertaining a story if they'd done it like that. So I think it's just the fact that it's a very much a one-sided fight, as evidenced by the fact that
it doesn't even sound. It's not really a fight, is it?
Yeah, when I say fight, I mean it was. They basically just fired out of their own windows and stuff at what they thought were some things. Even if the alien angle, I guess is even there, it's kind of like what, but why aliens? There's no real. Because they saw them in the moon and thought they looked a bit metallic and stuff. But again, for me, it's like, well, what's their end game? What do the aliens want? You got to think about what the protagonist's goals are.
It could have been rather than aliens. It could have been one of those human statues people that you see, the street performers.
Yeah, do you reckon they're just really committed to the bit?
Well, I reckon
trying to earn that 50p like a motherfucker.
Well,
he's being shot at.
They probably came down with the Carney. They were coming to meet him because they did the human statue bit at the carnival.
That's the shittest fucking act of all time, isn't it?
What, they're being released still in silver? Yeah. There are some interesting ones.
Oh, what can I do? I've got absolutely no talent.
I can stand still. I couldn't stand
still.
Well, you couldn't stand still for that long.
No, fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, don't care. Not having it.
I don't know. There's some interesting ones in.
Good luck to you if you can earn a living doing it.
Well, the really good ones that you see kind of around Covent Garden in London, like they do. They're sort of like half magic as well. Like they're balancing on there's like an optical illusion element.
Yeah,
like they're balancing on top of a stick or something. Like,
yeah, I'll give extra points for that. At least that implies some, I don't know, gymnastic ability or something. Well, I don't know. It's. The worst one I saw was.
We get it. You don't like human statues.
Outside the Pompidou Centre, and I don't know if it was a human statue or a mime or a mixture of the two, but he was basically like standing there with his umbrella blowing away, or just, an umbrella outstretched, pretending it was windy.
That's brilliant. Right. How much money did you give him?
0 francs from me.
40 francs.
Euros. 1 franc, sir. And which was been euros for years.
That would have been 10 pence, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Give or take. Anyway. So I've forgotten what the hell we were talking about. I think I'm scoring something, aren't I?
Narrative premise.
Yeah.
Just give me a number now, Neil. You've gone on too long.
3.
3, lovely. It sounds like it's an early alien encounter, so that's all right. They committed to it as a family. That's good. The National Guards, and they got the What a Scoop newspaper man in. So,
New York Times.
Yeah.
Hex hoax. The headline there, I imagine. Page 56.
I haven't before this heard of a one-sided attempted gun battle with aliens. So that's... Yeah. I think it sounds like an early one of aliens kind of trying... It's got a bit of the zombie thing to it, hasn't it? Of like, you're in your house and there things trying to get in, all that kind of shit.
Well, it's a classic sort of movie premise, things attacking you in a small location.
But it's from the 50s, so it wasn't as classic then, I'd say. So I don't think it's as low as you. It's not. It's not setting my heart alight, but it's okay. I'll give it a. And you got to remember, they didn't have any books, so they couldn't look up any good storylines for their hoax.
No, that's true.
So,
not that it makes a difference.
Right, I'm going to give it a 5 for that. So that gives us an overall score of 34, which is a fairly low one, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it kind of is. I don't know. I think it's quite an interesting one, and
it's a nice little story.
Yeah.
Of man's constant battle against the owl, which has gone on for millennia, hasn't it?
What do they see? What are they up to?
What do they know?
Yeah.
I'm behind you. Wow, spin the head. I can see you. Shit. You can't sneak up on an owl. That's That's a real food for thought.
See their prey for miles.
That's why there are betters. And that's why the people at Bohemian Grove worship.
That's why they worship them. Yeah.
And the people from Cornwall who worship Owlman.
Rightly they should.
Their regional deity.
Their king and leader and god.
So that's it for this week's Urban Legends. If you want to get in touch with whatever an urban legend you want us to look at or any theories or anything, then Neil, what is that email address?
I believe, probably wrongly, that is podcast@gmail.com.
That's right, Neil.
urb.legend.podcast
it's
at gmail.com.
herb.legends.podcast@gmail.com. And I would just have a nice week. If you're in the UK, be careful of the winds because I've already had some deaths. And go and have a little look up at the harpy eagle because he's a cheeky fella that will melt your heart and infect your brain. So from me, Chris, goodbye.
Goodbye.
Lovely stuff. I was still sharing the screen. Lucky I didn't start looking up porn.
Yeah.
Like I normally do.
Just pull out one of the tabs. Favourites list comes down. That's just some filth.
Yeah, we won't be looking at my bookmarks. Right, so what do you reckon? Do you want to do another one or are you done for today?
I don't mind. I could have a crack at another one.
The silver train thing.
Let's see what that's all about.
Right, I'll end this so I can get this all saved. Shall we? 10 minutes?
10 past?
Cool. Yeah. See you in a sec.